The alien sun was high and cruel. Heat waves danced above the sand. The marketplace buzzed with shouting voices and rough laughter. It was not a place for kindness. It was a place where people were bought and sold, like tools. In the center of it all stood a crooked metal platform. On it, a tall alien trader with rough gray skin waved his arms and shouted to the crowd, "Come on, come close. One more deal before the suns go down," he barked, his voice echoing through the rusting beams above. At his feet, chained and slumped, was a girl. Her skin was a strange shade of bronze, smooth and marked with old bruises. Her hair was matted, her clothes torn. Her eyes didn't move. She just stared at the ground, silent. The crowd looked, then looked away. She wasn't beautiful anymore. She wasn't strong. She looked broken. The trader laughed. "Not even worth a meal, right?" he sneered, kicking sand toward her face. "All right then. 1 bottle of liquor. Just 1. I'll take the loss." People chuckled. 1 or 2 shouted jokes. "Is she even alive?" one alien said. "Looks like scrap," another laughed. From the back of the crowd, a man stood still. He was human, wore a dusty coat, heavy boots. In a calm face, no one noticed him. He didn't shout, he didn't laugh. But his eyes were sharp-and they were locked on the girl. The trader kept going. "No buyers? Not even for fun?" He bent down and pulled the girl's chin up. Her face turned slowly, painfully, but her eyes didn't meet his. She looked somewhere else, somewhere far away. "She's useless," the trader said, dropping her face. "Come on, someone give me something, even a flask, a trade for garbage." The human moved. He didn't rush. He walked slowly through the crowd. People stepped aside, surprised. His boots crunched in the sand. When he reached the platform, he looked up at the trader. "I'll take her," the human said. The trader blinked. "You serious?" he asked, then laughed. "1 bottle of liquor, friend? That's all it takes. You got one?" the human said. Nothing. He reached into his coat and pulled out a small silver coin. Not just any coin, it shimmered faintly with human tech. Valuable, rare. He tossed it up. The trader caught it and stared, eyes wide. "You're kidding," he muttered. "This is worth ... 5 bottles, maybe more." The human just looked at the girl. "Fine." "Deal," the trader said quickly, afraid the man would change his mind. He snapped his fingers. The slave's shackles clanked open. Her arms dropped. Weak and shaking, the crowd was silent. Some were confused. Some were angry. One alien whispered, "Why waste real money on trash?" The human bent down, carefully lifting the girl into his arms. She didn't resist. Her body was light. Too light. Her breathing was shallow. He turned and walked away, carrying her like something precious. The crowd stared as he passed. Behind him, the trader called out, "No returns, human. She's yours now." But the human didn't answer. He didn't look back. Far from the noise of the market, the human reached his small ship hidden in a metal scrapyard. Inside, the lights were soft and warm. He laid the girl down gently on a clean bed, then took off his coat and placed it over her. He brought water, but she didn't drink. He brought soft food, but she didn't move. Only her eyes opened slightly, just for a second. She saw him, really saw him. Not the crowd, not the trader, but him. "Why?" she whispered. Her voice was dry and cracked. "Why did you buy me?" Human sat beside her. He didn't touch her, just spoke calmly, "Because I saw something they didn't." She blinked slowly. Her lips trembled. "There's nothing left in me." "Maybe," the human said, "but maybe you're wrong." She stared at him again. Her eyes, though dim, held something. Not hope, but maybe the beginning of hope. Then, just before sleep pulled her away, her fingers twitched, and for the first time in a long time, she felt safe. The girl woke slowly. The first thing she noticed was silence. No shouting, no chains. No smell of blood or rust, just silence. Something soft under her head. Her body tensed. For years, waking meant pain. Waking meant being. Kicked, dragged, or sold. This was different. She turned her head. She was in a small room, dimly lit. It smelled clean like metal and old fabric, not filth. A faint hum filled the air. A ship. She was inside a ship. The coat covering her was too big, human-sized, and warm. She sat up fast, panicked. Her hands reached for her neck, no collar, her wrists no cuffs. She looked down at herself, breathing hard. Her legs dangled off the edge of a cot. She was free. The door opened. The human stepped in, holding a tin bowl and a small bottle of water. His coat was off now, revealing a plain gray shirt and worn trousers. His face was tired but kind. His eyes met hers, but didn't scan or judge. He placed the bowl on the table near her, then slowly backed away. "You're safe here," he said simply. She didn't believe him. Couldn't. She pressed her back against the wall, watching him. Like a trapped animal, he didn't move closer. He just sat on the floor, across the room. The food smelled like soup. Her stomach growled, loud and painful. She hated it, hated needing anything, hated being seen. The human didn't laugh, didn't speak. After a long moment, she crawled forward, picked up the bowl, and ate with shaking hands. It was bland, but hot. Real food. It made her want to cry. He watched her with quiet eyes. "Why did you buy me?" She asked again, her voice still rough. "I told you," he said, "'cause I saw something no one else did." She looked down. They all saw trash. They were wrong. Her fingers gripped the bowl tighter. "You paid for me like cargo. Why should I trust you?" "You shouldn't," he said honestly. "Not yet." It was the first honest thing anyone had said in years. He stood up slowly, still keeping distance. "There's a med kit in the cabinet if you want it. I won't touch you without permission." She blinked. That word, permission. It felt like it came from another life. Later, as the human worked at the ship's console, she stood near the mirror in the corner. Her reflection stared back. A stranger, skinny, pale, eyes too big for her face, scars across her back, shoulders, and thighs. Her collarbone showed clearly. Her hair was tangled beyond saving. She pulled down the torn sleeve of her shirt and froze. There, just below her shoulder, glowing faintly beneath the skin, was a thin line of blue. It pulsed gently. Alive. She ran her fingers over it. It wasn't a scar. It was something deeper. It's like circuitry, but biological. She remembered flashes in dolls, screaming machines, voices shouting, "She's defective." She grabbed the mirror and almost smashed it, but the human's voice stopped her. "You saw it too," said softly from behind. Not scared, just knowing. "What is it?" she asked. "I don't know yet," he said, "but it's not trash." Night, she didn't sleep much. Memories burned behind her eyes' metal walls, glass tubes, being tested, punished, dumped. She curled up under his coat again, even though she hated needing warmth. She woke once to find him sitting in the hall, asleep against the wall, guarding the door knot, locking it. In the morning, her voice was stronger. "What's your name?" He looked at her for a moment, then said, "Call me Rook." She blinked. "Is that real?" He smiled. "Does it matter?" She gave a small nod. "Then I'll be Ash." "Is that your name?" "No," she said, "but it's what's left." Back in the city, word had spread. "That human paid silver for her," said one merchant. "She's got something inside her," said a drunk. Slaver, he didn't buy her for nothing. The trader who sold her watched the video feed again and again. The way she glowed, the way she looked at the human. "She's not just a slave," he whispered, eyes narrow. "She's tech." He called someone. A high voice answered. "Yes," came the smooth tone. "I sold something valuable," the trader said. "I know who has it," the voice replied, cold and slow. "Then you better pray I get her back." Ash sat alone in the corner of the ship's lower deck, the dim light casting long shadows around her. Rook had given her space, like he always did. But now, she didn't know what to do with it. Her body felt strange, like something inside her was waking up. She rolled up her sleeve again and stared at the glowing blue line beneath her skin. It pulsed softly in rhythm with her heartbeat. Last night, it had only flickered, but now it was spreading, reaching across her shoulder like vines branching in smooth patterns too perfect to be scars. She touched it. It felt warm, not metal, not skin, something in between. She didn't remember how it got there. But when she closed her eyes, flashes came, blinding lights, voices speaking in code, wires crawling across her body, screaming her own. Rook watched her from the hallway. He didn't ask questions. Not yet. He had scanned her earlier without touching her, using an old human field scanner. The device hummed softly, then blinked red. Not because she was injured, but because the scanner couldn't classify her. She wasn't fully organic. She wasn't fully synthetic. She was something else. The data was corrupted. But a single word kept showing up in the file header. Project Seraph didn't tell her yet. Not until he understood more. Instead, he cooked her another warm meal, laid it on the small table, waited. She came to the table silently, eyes still cloudy with memory. But this time, she didn't flinch when he stood nearby. "I think there's something inside me," she said finally. He nodded. "I know you." "Knew? I saw it glowing when I carried you." She looked down at her arm again. "I thought it was a burn at first. Then I felt it. Moving? Does it hurt?" "No," she said. "It feels like it's waking up." She paused. "Did they do to me, Rook?" "I don't know yet," he said softly. "But I think they built something inside you, something advanced. Why would they do that to someone like me?" Rook looked at her for a long moment. "Maybe because someone thought you could be powerful," he said. "Or maybe they were afraid you already were." Back in the city, the trader's call reached an orbiting black ship, one that never docked, never broadcasted a name. Inside, cold steel halls led to a single figure standing in the dark. A tall alien woman with golden eyes and silver skin watched the feed. The moment Ash's glowing markings flickered on screen, the woman froze. "Seraph Unit 09, she whispered. She turned to her assistant. "Oh, I thought she was terminated." "She escaped processing before the wipe," the assistant said. "They listed her as destroyed, dumped off-world." "She wasn't destroyed," the woman said. "She's evolving." She turned toward a monitor and zoomed in on Rook's ship signature. "Locate them now, before the human sees what she really is." Back on the ship, Rook and Ash sat quietly. Ash leaned back on the cot, hands crossed over her chest. She looked calm, but inside, her mind raced. "I remembered something," she said suddenly. Rook looked up. "There was a lab," she whispered. "Bright lights, cold tables. They told me I was chosen, that I'd be a protector, a weapon." She swallowed hard. "I agreed." Rook was silent. "They said I'd feel nothing, that emotions would be erased, but something went wrong. I felt fear, I felt sadness. I cried once and they called me corrupt." She laughed, bitter and quiet. "So they threw me away because I cried." Rook's jaw tightened. "You weren't broken," he said. "You were human enough to feel." Her eyes softened for a moment. Then her body jerked. The blue lines lit up bright, sharp, electric. She gasped, gripping the side of the cot. "What's happening?" Rook asked, standing quickly but not touching her. Ash's breathing quickened. Her hands glowed, naufed trails of energy running down to her fingertips. She clenched her fists. I think it's trying to activate." "What is, I don't know," she cried. "But it wants something. It wants out." The ship's lights flickered. A low hum filled the room, like distant thunder under metal floors. Rook rushed to the console. Alerts blinked on screen. "Something's pinging your biosignature," he said. "A scan from orbit. They found you." Ash looked up, her eyes glowing faintly. "Then they're coming," she whispered. Outside, the sky cracked open. A black ship dropped from the cloud, silent, massive, and hungry. It wasn't just looking for a missing slave. It was coming to retrieve a weapon that slipped through its fingers. The ship shook just once, but deep enough to rattle the floor. Ash grabbed the edge of the cot. That wasn't turbulence. Rook was already at the console, hands moving fast. Red lights blinked across the screen. A ship had entered Lotmosphere, registered, untagged, and quiet. To quiet. They're here, he muttered. Ash stood. Still weak, but something inside her was changing. Her legs were steadier now. The glow on her arms had dimmed, but it was still there, like quiet fire beneath her skin. Rook turned to her. Can you walk? Ash nodded. Then we're not flying out, he said. They'll blow us out of the sky before we lift. She stared at him, so we run. No, Rook replied. We disappear. 10 minutes later, the hatch opened, and Rook led Ash into the shadowed maze of the Underdistrict. The lower levels of the scrapyard city were built. Layer by layer, no plan, just metal piled over rust, over old tech. Pipes ran like veins across the walls, steam hissed from grates, and the lights flickered more than they glowed. Ash stayed close. Her head spun as she passed old machines, broken bots, and sleeping creatures in alleyways. But she didn't feel afraid, not exactly. Something deeper was guiding her steps now. Her body remembered this kind of movement-tight corners, soundless feet, like training. From a life she never truly lived, they'll be scanning for us, Rook said, as they slipped through a rusted tunnel. Thermals, movement, probably scent markers. Ash narrowed her eyes. Then why aren't we hiding? Or not? Running from bounty hunters, Rook answered. We're running from the people who built bounty hunters. They stopped at an old metal wall, sealed tight, no markings. Rook pulled off a panel and began rerouting wires with a calm speed that suggested he'd done this before. Ash studied him. You've done this before? Rook didn't look at her. I wasn't always a traitor. What were you? He paused, then said, someone who saw too much. Someone they wanted quiet. The door clicked open. Inside was a hidden service. Corridor abandoned, untouched. Dust floated in the air like ash. Lights hummed weakly overhead. It looked forgotten. Ash stepped in first, then froze. She touched the wall. I know this place. Rook looked at her. What? She moved her hand slowly across the metal. I was brought here, she said. Not this tunnel, but the level above. I remember the sound, the smell, that hum. She pointed ahead. There's a lift somewhere. A small one meant for cargo. It bypasses the trackers. Rook raised an eyebrow. You sure? She nodded. I think I helped design it. They moved quickly now, down tight paths, stepping over broken crates and shattered tiles. Ash's energy pulsed faintly with every step. Behind them, first search drones entered the upper scrapyard silent machines with red eyes and long claws, gliding over metal with soundless precision. The black ship in the sky watched it all inside. Yes. The silver-skinned alien woman watched a monitor. Ash's signal had gone faint, almost like it was disappearing. She's moving through legacy corridors, her assistant reported. Then someone's helping her, the woman snapped. The human, her eyes narrowed. If she reaches the undercore, we lose visual. Send the hounds. Rook and Ash reached the lift. It was buried under a pile of rusted crates. Ash's fingers found the controls behind a loose pipe. Her hands moved without thinking patterns, and codes etched into her bones. The lift came to life with a low hum. Rook stared. You sure you don't remember being an engineer? I wasn't one, she said softly, but I was trained by one, or something like one. The lift doors opened. They stepped inside as it closed. Ash looked up, eyes glowing slightly, and whispered, They're almost here. At the scrapyard surface, the black ship opened its side. Something dropped from its tall skeletal machines. With long arms and scanner eyes, silent, built to hunt, they didn't walk, they glided, and they didn't look for trails. They sensed fear. Far below, as the lift descended, Ash held the railing. The air grew colder. The glow on her skin grew brighter. Suddenly, the lift jolted, stopped, stuck between levels. The lights flickered. She looked at Rook. Can you fix it? He opened the side panel. Not unless I tear the whole board apart. She closed her eyes, then without thinking, placed her hand on the panel, A pulse of light passed from her palm into the machine. The lift hummed, then started moving again. Rook stared at her. Ash opened her eyes. "It's surprised too, I didn't know I could do that," she said. "You're learning," he replied. "No," she whispered. "I'm remembering." The cargo lift opened with a hiss, revealing an underground chamber long forgotten. It was dark, wide, and filled with old machinery that blinked weakly like dying stars in a cold sky. Dust floated in the air, disturbed only by the hum of systems. Too stubborn to die, Ash stepped out first. Her boots echoed softly on the metal floor. The glow in her arms lit the path ahead. "This place," she murmured, looking around with a strange mix of fear and familiarity. "I've been here before." Rook followed close behind, weapon in hand. "When? I don't know. But my body remembers." She stopped near a tall console buried in shadow. Her fingers brushed it and the console lit up instantly, recognizing her touch. Rook stared. "It responded to you." Ash turned toward him, her voice quiet but steady. "'Cause I'm not just a person, Rook. I was made for this." The screen displayed ancient files logs, test data, blueprints of a living weapon. A hybrid dot project. Seraph Rook read the words slowly, jaw tightening. Ash read them without blinking. Subject, Unit 09. Core traits, obedient, adaptive, emotionally unstable. Status, deactivated. "They tried to delete me," Ash said. "Wipe the system. But something protected the files." She placed her hand on her chest. "It was me," the files told a brutal truth. Ash wasn't born. She was built from alien DNA, human neurology, and quantum tech, designed to feel just enough to mimic emotion, but not enough to disobey. But something went wrong. She did feel. She cried during training. She hesitated during simulations. She chose mercy over mission. Her creators called it corruption. She called it something else. Choice Rook watched her silently. "You weren't broken," he said. "You were better than what they wanted." She looked at him, tears in her eyes. "Now, then why did they throw me away?" "Because you scared them," he said. "Because you were more than a weapon. You were alive." Far above, the black ship circled the upper district like a silent predator. Inside, the silver-skinned woman stared at new data. "She's activated her source core," the assistant reported. "She's remembering," the woman hissed. "That's dangerous." She was never meant to evolve. The woman's golden eyes narrowed. No, she was meant to obey. She turned toward the command chair. "Send the reclaimers. I want the human removed." And Seraph 09 brought back intact. Back underground, Ash stumbled back from the console. Her arms lit brighter, markings crawling over her neck and spine now. Pain bloomed behind her eyes. "It's too much," she whispered. "I can't hold it." Rook caught her, held her steady. "What's happening?" "The system inside MIT's rebooting. It's trying to overwrite who I am, then fight it. I don't know how."
What?
Rook placed his hand over hers. "Yes." "You do?" Ash fell to her knees, trembling inside her mind. Two voices battled. One was cold, full of orders, commands, simulations. The other was hers, the girl who had cried, who had hoped, who had feared and loved even when she wasn't supposed to. That voice whispered, "You are not a weapon. You're not a tool. You are not theirs." Ash screamed, and the glow exploded outward. The lights in the chamber blew out. Rook shielded his face as wind-like energy surged from Ash's body. When it faded, she was standing again, stronger, taller, steady. Her eyes glowed. White, but her voice was her own. "I remember everything now." She turned toward the chamber's far end, where a sealed vault door stood. "It's behind there," she said. "What is?" Rook asked. "The control key," she replied. "One thing they couldn't destroy, thing that made me different." She walked slowly, her steps echoing like drums. "I wasn't just built to fight, Rook. I was built to protect, to choose." She touched the vault door, slid open. Inside, resting on a pedestal, was a glowing shard, pure energy, shaped like a heart. She picked it up, and her body lit from head to toe lines of gold, not blue now. Rook stepped back, eyes wide. Ash. She turned to him, smiling softly. I'm not Project Seraph anymore. I'm Ash, but deep in the city. The reclaimers had arrived, tall, faceless machines that spoke in one voice. Target locked, retrieval initiated, and they were already underground. Asterisk, the first reclaimer, landed without a sound, its long limbs folded in as it stepped through the shadows of the underground corridor. More followed behind, silent, silver, and merciless. Their eyes glowed red. Their purpose was clear. Find Unit 09. Eliminate the human. Bring the core back far ahead. Ash stood with the glowing shard still in her hand. It pulsed softly, matching her heartbeat. Rook was beside her, scanning the shifting data on his wrist display. They're closing in, he said. About 12. No heat signature. No voice signals. These things are built for quiet kills. Ash didn't speak. Her eyes were on the shard. Her entire body glowed faint gold now. She wasn't just remembering, she was becoming. What are they exactly? She asked. Reclaimers, Rook replied. They collect lost projects, failed assets. But you're not a project anymore, Ash. You're a person. Ash closed her fist around the shard. They don't care. They only see code. She looked down the corridor, but they'll see something else now. The lights above flickered once, then went dark in the blackness. Red eyes blinked alive. They were here. Rook pulled out a compact rifle, loaded it, and stood in front of her. Ash narrowed her eyes. What are you doing, stalling? You'll die. He looked over his shoulder, then die trying. The first reclaimer struck. A long arm lashed out through the dark razor sharp. Rook dodged, fired once, and the blast echoed through the chamber. But two more crawled through the broken wall. Ash stepped forward, hand raised. The gold lines on her skin lit brighter, and then the air itself bent. A pulse of energy erupted from her palm, crashing into the machines. They flew backward, slammed. Into the walls, crushed. But it didn't stop them for long. They're adapting, Rook warned. They're rerouting systems to resist. Ash nodded, breathing hard. Then I'll adapt faster. She ran straight toward them, sliding under one as it swung its blade arm, then launched upward with force no normal body should have. She landed on its back, hand glowing, and touched the base of its head. Shut down protocol, she whispered. It collapsed. 3 more came from the side tunnels. One pinned Rook, slamming him against the wall. He cried out, rifle falling. Ash turned but 2. Late, she watched the blade rise and fall, right into Rook's chest. The moment froze. No air, no sound, only pain in her throat as she screamed, Rook. He dropped, blood blooming across his shirt. Ash ran to him, falling to her knees. Stay with me, she cried, hands pressing over the wound. His eyes fluttered open. Still here? He whispered, voice rough. Did I stall long enough? Ash sobbed. You idiot, why would you do that? His hand brushed her cheek. 'Cause you're worth more than 1 silver coin. Then his hand fell. Something inside her broke open, but this time it didn't shatter her. It freed her. The glow turned white hot. The shard in her hand melted into light and flowed into her chest. She rose. Not human, not machine. Something beyond. The reclaimers hesitated for the first time. They scanned uncertainty. Then she moved. She didn't run. She didn't strike. She simply stepped. Hand. The ground cracked beneath her with a wave of her hand. The tunnel behind her sealed shut, trapping half the reclaimers on the other side. With another, she reached out fingers, spreading in, the remaining ones froze in place. Their limbs jerked, systems overloaded. Ash's voice echoed in the dark. You built me to obey, but I choose to be free. One by one, the machines exploded, falling in silence like silver leaves. She turned back to Rook. He was still breathing barely. She knelt beside him again, glowing hands pressing gently to his wound. I'm not losing you, she whispered. You brought me back. Let me bring you back too. Energy pulsed from her fingers. Healing systems long buried in her core. Activated for the first time, his breath steadied to color, returned to his face. His eyes opened. You're glowing, he murmured. You always did say I had potential. Far above, on the black ship. The silver-skinned woman watched the final feed cut off. Static filled the screen. Her hand trembled slightly. She's gone, the assistant said. Signal dead, no, the woman whispered. She's not gone. She's evolved. God. Turned to the window, and for the first time, looked afraid. The sun was rising. Not above a city, not above a battlefield, but deep underground, where a forgotten skylight cracked open for the first time in years. Soft, golden light spilled onto metal and dust, onto the girl who had once been a slave. Project and a number Ash stood still in the beam, eyes closed. Chest rising slow and calm, she was alive. Not because someone owned her, not because someone programmed her, but because she chose to be. Rook sat nearby, his back resting against the wall. His shirt was torn and stained, but his wound had closed stitched together by the strange light Ash now carried inside her. He watched her in silence. You look different, he finally said. Ash opened her eyes. They still glowed, but not with rage or power, with peace. I am different, she said. You were always that. She smiled. I just didn't believe it until now. But something still pressed on her mind, something unspoken. She walked over and sat beside him. Rook, she said quietly, you knew about Project Seraph before we met. He didn't answer. She waited. Finally, he sighed. I didn't know it was you. I knew the name, the rumors, that something escaped. Years ago, a prototype that rejected its code, but I never expected to find it chained up half-dead in a marketplace. Then why were you even there? Rook looked at her hand for the first time, hesitated. I was paid to go. Ash's body stiffened. By who? Rook's voice lowered. It's an old friend. Ex-Alliance. Said there was a signal, something dangerous in that sector. Asked me to investigate quietly. You were hunting me. No, Rook. Said quickly. I was looking for the thing they wanted to destroy. I didn't know it had a name, or a heartbeat. Ash turned away. Her fingers twitched with old fear. But then, she didn't run. She didn't flare up. She just asked, and now, Rook swallowed. Now I'd die before handing you over. She looked at him, again truly looked, and saw the truth in his face. Not guilt. Not mission. Loyalty. Then we start over, she said. He blinked. Just like that? I'm not the only one who wants to be more than what they were made for. Outside, far from the broken city, a quiet signal pinged through space. Not a distress call. Not a bounty. A choice. Ash encoded it herself. The message was simple. I am free. I am alive. I am not a weapon. And I am not alone. Somewhere beyond the stars, others heard it. Others like her, abandoned projects. Forgotten. Hybrids. Those who never got to choose, and one by one, crossed dark systems and hidden labs. Lights began to flicker on. The galaxy didn't know it yet, but a new kind of life was rising, one that couldn't be sold. Silenced or broken, Ash and Rook walked. Out into the light, the reclaimers were gone. City above had fallen quiet. Rumors had already begun to spread, of a girl made of stars, of a human who stood between her and death, of a glow that changed everything it touched at the edge of the scrapyard. The old trader who once sold her for a bottle of liquor watched there, silhouettes disappear over the horizon. He spat in the sand, trying to forget the shame, but he couldn't, because everyone now whispered her name with reverence. Not Unit 09, not the broken girl, but Ash, and this time no one would dare put a price on her.